Business Saturday.
Welcome to Small Business Saturdays video series with your host and my husband.
And my dad, Aaron Montgomery.
Join the conversation.
Let's talk some business.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome into Small Business Saturdays. My name is Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. And I hope everybody is having a great start to their Saturday. Beautiful day here in St. Louis. So again, I love Small Business Saturdays because it just always gets me pumped up, fired up. I love talking about this stuff because it puts us in the right mindset. And by having the right mindset, we can literally change our lives, can be able to empower ourselves to have anything that we want in our lives and our businesses, all that great stuff. So this type of topic is super exciting for me. Today, we're going to be talking about creating a money mindset, a money magnet mindset, excuse me. And so this one going to be a little different than we normally do it. I've got a video that I want to share with you from my mentor, Jack Canfield. In fact, I just got an email from him the other day, and well, not the other day, yesterday afternoon, and I have officially completed my next certification in the program. So became a Success Principles certified trainer, and now I have completed the virtual skills boot camp and have a new seal for that. So I'm excited about that and getting that official announcement. We kind of knew for a while, but got there all the details yesterday. So pretty excited about that. The video that I'm going to share with you is Jack talking about this subject. And what I'd like to do with this, and it's a longer video, so not really taking the day off necessarily, but what I'd like to do is have you watch that and take it all in, and then we'll come back and I want to share some of my thoughts, some of the points that he made that I feel like we need to make sure we hit home. And then if you guys have some shares that you'd like to participate with as well, we'd love that too. So does that sound like a good plan? Sounds like a great way to dive into me, at least. So hopefully you guys are on board with that. And with that being said, I am going to get the video up and go from there. Thank you, Kylene. Good morning to Kylene. And Kylene says, "Wahoo, congratulations." Thank you, sweetie. That's my wife, Kylene. Thank you so much for tuning in and appreciate the kind words. All right, well, let's hear from Jack here. It's about a 10-minute video. Really great stuff. I've watched this lots of times. I go back to it because when we can stay in this mindset, when we can have this way of thinking, and he's going to talk about it, abundance mentality, it really changes things a ton. So good morning, Chuck. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, well, let's hear from Jack, and then we will be back in to talk about it. So I'm going to hit this button and away we go.
Hi, I'm Jack Canfield, and today I'd like to teach you how to create an abundance mindset that will effortlessly help you attract more wealth and more abundance into your life. You know, most people have a complicated relationship with money. If you feel a stab of dread when you see bills or credit card statements arrive in your mailbox, you know what I mean. Most of us have been there. It's fun to spend money, but it's not so fun to discover you're spending more money than you make. So ask yourself, if you were a business, would you be broke by now? Of course, life isn't cheap. We all know that, especially when you have a family. Everything adds up so very fast. If you're not paying attention to how much you spend every month, you may quickly find yourself in debt. And one of the worst things about debt is the stress it puts on you. It robs you of your peace of mind and reduces your overall quality of life. But it doesn't need to be this way. No matter what your current financial situation is, you can develop a money magnet mindset that will empower you to get out of debt and create a healthy financial future for yourself and your family. So today I'm going to share with you 4 powerful strategies to help you do just that. Now, my first money magnet tip is to become aware of your negative and limiting beliefs about money and replace them with new beliefs. One of the most effective ways to do this is to reprogram the subconscious mind with affirmations. Now, affirmations are simply positive statements that you repeat over and over to yourself on a daily basis for at least 30 days until they are installed permanently into the subconscious.
selling physical products is not the best way of making money on Amazon in 2021. Now, yes, that model does.
Now, here are some examples of negative and limiting money beliefs. Money doesn't grow on trees. There's not enough money to go around. You have to have money to make money. You can't get rich during a recession. Money is the root of all evil. Money can't buy happiness. I can't make a lot of money doing what I love to do. You have to work too hard to make money. People will resent me if I have a lot of money. No matter what I do, I'm always in debt. So what are the affirmations that are the opposite of these beliefs? Think about these. I live in an abundant universe and money always comes to me easily and effortlessly. There is always enough money for everything I need and want. I am always finding new ways to make more money. I keep getting wealthier no matter what the economy is doing. Money is the root of all good things. The more money I have, the happier I become. The more I do what I love, the more money flows into my life. I am a magnet for success and good fortune. The more money I have, the more good I can do in the world. No matter what I do, money keeps pouring into my life. I rejoice in the success of others and they rejoice in mine. Every day, in every way, my wealth is increasing. Whenever I spend or give away money, it comes back to me multiplied. I love money and money loves me. I am a powerful money magnet. So I encourage you to watch this again and write those down and then repeat them every day for 30 days. Now here's my second tip for becoming a money magnet. Practice gratitude for what you already have. Most people spend most of their time focusing on, talking about, and obsessing over what they don't have, rather than focusing on celebrating and expressing gratitude for what they do have. And the result of that is it puts you into a state of consciousness of lack. Focusing on and complaining about what you don't have puts you into a lower state of vibration, which results in continuing to attract the same lack of abundance that you're complaining about. So by focusing on what you do have and consciously being grateful for it, you put yourself into a higher vibration and you end up attracting more things to be grateful for. This is how the law of attraction works. So to put this into practice, I recommend two practices. First, take a few minutes every morning to simply write down what you're grateful for. There's so many things to be grateful for. Your house, your apartment, your friends and family, your car, your motorcycle, your bicycle, the public transportation system, the clean water that comes out of your faucet. Did you know there are millions of people in the world who have to walk more than an hour to get to a source of water? And often it's not even the cleanest of water. Be grateful for your refrigerator, electricity and electric lights, your television, your cell phone, your computer, the internet, the fact that we have Wikipedia, Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, credit cards, sunrises and sunsets, the smell of a rose, the fact that you have a sense of smell at all, and so on. Life really is quite miraculous. So appreciate it. Now, the other practice is to express real heartfelt appreciation to at least 5 people a day. Your partner, if you're in a relationship, your children, one of your parents, a neighbor, your coworkers, your employees, the bus driver, the person at the grocery store checkout counter, your waiter or waitress, the UPS driver, even the TSA worker at the airport, the street musician, the barista who makes your coffee, your clients and customers. How about the kid who cuts your grass, your babysitter, your housekeeper, and so on? I'm talking about really stopping for a minute, looking them in the eye, and sharing something deeper than a simple thank you. Letting them know what exactly it is that you appreciate. For example, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you for getting up every morning at what must be 5 a.m. to be here, to open your coffee shop and do all the things that you have to do to get ready so I can get here at 7 a.m. and get a great cup of coffee. And for the time you've invested in learning how to pull a way above average shot of espresso. And if you can't do it in person, send a note, a card, a letter, or an email with the same level of appreciation. Now, my third tip to become a money magnet also has 2 parts. The first is to always carry a $100 bill or its equivalent wherever you live, like euros in Europe, in your pocket, your wallet, or your purse. Now, this way you can never say, I don't have any money. Secondly, every time you take money out of your pocket or you go into your wallet or your purse, you'll see that $100 bill and you'll think, I am abundant. You are never broke. You always know that in an emergency, you can always afford to buy a meal or take a taxi home. And if you do ever spend it, immediately replace it. Now, as simple as this seems, it has a huge psychological effect on your abundance mindset. The second part of this tip is to write yourself a check for the amount of money you would like to earn every year and carry it with you as well. Now, you can download one from the internet, print out the blank check for this purpose, and then fill in whatever amount you want. It could be for $100,000 or $1 million, or in the case of Jim Carrey, he wrote himself a check for $10 million. Now, I'm sure you know Jim Carrey. He's a famous actor in Hollywood, but that wasn't always the case. Before he became well known, he was broke and struggling to make ends meet. He loved acting and he was determined to make money from it. So on the check he wrote to himself, he wrote the exact amount of money he wanted to make, $10 million, and then he wrote that it was for acting services rendered. He didn't write a date on that check, but he fully believed that he'd get the money. Later, when his father died, he decided to put the check in the urn that contained his father's ashes, and he kept on believing. And several years later, just before Thanksgiving in 1995, he was offered $10 million to play a lead role in the movie Dumb and Dumber. That's how it worked. You've probably heard me tell a similar story in the movie and the book The Secret about how I first manifested a $100,000 income and later $1 million royalty check for the first Chicken Soup for the Soul book. Now, here's my fourth tip for becoming a money magnet. Spend time hanging out with people who have more money than you. And also spend time hanging out in places that represent wealth and abundance. Let's look at each of these things in more depth. First, hanging out with people who are wealthier or who make more money than you do. You may remember that I teach you are the average of the 10 people you spend the most time with. Now, when you spend time with people who are living in abundance, over time, their thought processes, their beliefs, their habits, and their behaviors will rub off on you. You learn about wealth just by being in their presence. John Assaraf, who was one of the featured teachers in the movie The Secret, came from very humble beginnings. He did not go to college, but he also became a very successful multimillionaire. Now, he told me that it all started when he landed a job in a gym at the Jewish Community Center across the street from his apartment in Montreal. In addition to earning $1.65 an hour, he received access to the Men's Health Club. And John said that he got his early education in business in the men's sauna. Every night after work, he would sit in the steamy hot room listening to successful businessmen tell their tales of success and failure, all the while learning important business principles. Every night, he was in the presence of men from all walks of life who had become successful and freely shared their wisdom and experience with him. Now, in addition to hanging out with successful people, place yourself in the places and conditions that successful people hang out in. Program your unconscious for success by going to the showrooms of expensive cars and sitting in those cars, even test driving them. Mercedes, Lexus, Tesla, BMW, Porsche. Have the salesperson take a picture with your cell phone of you sitting in the car, looking out through the passenger window or standing next to the car, and tell him or her that you'll be back to buy that car soon. Go sit in the lobby bar at the Ritz-Carlton or a Four Seasons hotel. Go look at expensive jewelry or watches at a jewelry store. Try on a Rolex, a Cartier, a Tag Heuer, Patek Philippe, or Breitling watch. Go to open houses of the most expensive homes for sale in your community or to a neighboring community. Take your time looking around and imagining living there. Go to your local boutique clothing stores and try on some expensive clothes here or for some project you're working on. And make sure to write what it is for on the memo line on the check. Third, write down one thing you'll do in the next 7 days to hang out with someone making more money than you, or to go somewhere like an expensive hotel or a luxury car dealer to give yourself an experience of more luxury and more abundance. Now go ahead and write one of those things that you'll do in the comment section below, because when you make a public declaration of what you're going to do, it moves you one step closer to actually doing it. So thanks for watching. And remember, nothing in your life will change for the better until you do. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure you like it, share it.
Thank you, Chuck. All right. So there we go. Love hearing from my mentor, Jack Canfield. Always great information. And like I said, I've watched that many times, and really kind of every time it's something new kind of sinks in for me. So I will share the link after we're done here with everybody, as far as where you can go watch that on YouTube on your own, or you can just come back to this and watch it. So I'm excited. I want to spend the next 10, 15 minutes here just kind of breaking that down a little bit, seeing how we can put this into action for ourselves, and kind of what it means in our business lives and personal lives. So I'd love to hear from you guys and hear what you guys are thinking, what kind of came about after hearing all that. And I will get us started here. I've got notes over here. So I loved at the very beginning, he said, if you were a business, would you be broke? Well, we are businesses, and this idea of having that abundance mentality is really, I think, kind of what holds a lot of us back, is that we have to have the belief in ourselves that we can make the amount of sales that we want to make, reach the number of people that we want to reach, have that confidence to do that. And you might not know exactly how to do it right now today, but you have to believe that over time, you will gain the knowledge and information, resources that you need to reach your idea of success. And really, that's what we're all about with our success group, is helping make sure that we are supporting you all to have that kind of ability to be able to find those kinds of resources, to be able to take the kinds of actions that you guys need to take for success. So, I guess the first question that I would have for everybody that's tuned in and watching live is, what he talked about, those limiting beliefs, the things that, that we've programmed ourselves to think, that maybe has been programmed into us by maybe our parents or the people around us, to think about money and abundance and wealth and what success is and stuff like that. So what are some of your limiting beliefs around money, abundance, wealth, success? And I'd love to hear them. And then what I thought was kind of cool, and what I took from that first section of the video there, was he listed off all of those kind of common limiting beliefs, but then he came back with basically the opposite, or the inverse of those limiting beliefs, as a way to affirm that we can get to that abundance mentality. So love to hear any of your guys's thoughts, what limiting beliefs that you have around money. Jerry shared that reducing any debt has really helped me towards my goals. So there you go. And by reducing debt, you are giving yourself that ability to grow. So we as humans will fill up whatever space that we have. And when we have debt, we feel very pressured, very, got all these bills coming in. I'm just basically, you're spending all of your good energy servicing that debt. And so if you can do things to consciously reduce your debt, it will definitely help you move towards your goals, like Jerry said there, because now you've freed up that energy from all of that time that you're spending servicing the debt and dealing with writing that check, sending that, paying off credit cards, all your student loans, whatever it is that is kind of holding you down. And it just is this sense of freedom where we get, it's an abundance. We kind of open up, and now we can do more things, and now we can get closer to our goals. So while you guys are still thinking about what limiting beliefs you might have, and again, share them, I'd love to then see if we can turn them around and switch them and build that into an affirmation. Now, speaking of affirmations, we have an 8-page guide for how to set affirmations, along with a complete list of examples and basically affirmations you can just, quote unquote, borrow, steal, whatever you want to call it, take, use, that I think will be very helpful. Like I said, it's a very clear guide on exactly how to set affirmations. And then it also comes along with lots of examples and some ability for you to kind of take and plug in what you're trying to affirm and go from there. So With that, let me get you the link here. So if you'll go to oursuccessgroup.com/blocks and put in your information in there, it will email you a link to the PDF that you can see. In fact, let me share it. I've got it where I can share it on screen with you, so you can kind of just see what we're looking at here. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so it starts off just kind of with some information about why affirmations are important. Little information about a workshop we've got coming up, and then you've got guidelines for creating effective affirmations. I'm just going to kind of scroll through this so you guys can see. Start with the words I am, including action words down there, number 6, number 9, or add something better, right? So if you're saying, you know, I want to earn $30,000 this year or more, right? And then that allows your subconscious to go, oh, okay. Well, don't just stop at 30. What if there's a windfall and we can get to 50, right? So that kind of thing. And then sample affirmations, including a table of contents for, you know, things like career, self-esteem, health, love, parenting, daily life, community, spiritual, seize the moment. And then at the very end, and I'll just scroll down to that, at the very end is kind of fill in the blank. So that way gives you ability to kind of personalize these for yourself. All right. Oh gosh, I guess I should actually show it on the screen. Let's do that one more time. All right. Wow. All right. So here we go. So again, you heard all the stuff that I said. So here's the part where just kind of give you a little information about affirmations, the guidelines for creating effective affirmations, starting with the word I am, action words, what we talked about with adding something better. Here's all the sample informations, including that table of content to where you can find all that, including this fill in the blank affirmation, which you can just click on and scroll right to it there. And then you can see all that. Okay. So sorry about that. Didn't mean to not show that on the screen, but there we go. So oursuccessgroup.com/blocks is where you want to go. And so that'll give you that. So that's the affirmation part. And I think that's a huge tool. It's a great start. The second part here that I think, I'm not sure, I'm not going to say Jack missed it, but I think for me, the clarity part here is important to make sure that we get some clarity around this idea of, if we're going to have this money magnet mindset, you talked about abundance, right? And so we want to be confident that we can get what we need, and that the money is going to show up at the right time in the right amounts and all of that. And I think what sometimes is missed by people, and I know I've missed this, and so I want to share this, is that at first, when I started learning about this kind of mindset and mentality, I thought, oh, okay, so all I got to do is, you know, I can just sit on the couch and affirm that I'm going to make, you know, $1 million, and you know, sit there and it'll just show up, right? And that's all that I've got to do, is I just have to affirm over and over, you know, maybe do a little meditation and get my mind right, and then everything's going to show up. And unfortunately, that's not it. Now, it's a good start, right? Is just getting that mind right, giving yourself some space to really get your mind in that, you know, things will come, and being positive and having those feelings of, yes, I can do this, of abundance. But it also means that I have to take action towards it, right? And I have to, and I'm just looking at my notes over here, you know, and so this doesn't mean that if you have a money magnet mindset and abundance mentality, that you should just go out there and spend wildly and, you know, live beyond your means. This means that if you have that abundance mentality, that you change the way that you think about things, that maybe you spend where in the past you would have hoarded, and because there's an opportunity, but there's a return on investment, right? You're thinking through that. You're taking actions forward towards where you want to go. If it's $1 million, then, you know, what are you doing to bring in the $1 million, and having that confidence that you can do it. So we need to continue to take action. It's not just, okay, I'm going to make $1 million and and then I'll just sit here on my couch and wait for it. It's okay. I'm going to make $1 million. Now I've got the goal. Now I need to take the actions, and understanding and believing and being confident, and start looking at my notes one more time just to make sure I cover it all, that we have to be confident that the sum of all of your actions is going to work. And one of the best ways to make sure that the sum of your actions are going to work is what Kylene shared here. She said, just was thinking how he mentioned the importance of being grateful for what you already have. Therefore, you can move into a state of abundance. And that's the key right there is, okay, we get ourselves, our mindset right by affirming and having a clear goal set and doing all of that. But then the next step is we have to take action, and we have to take action and recognize the things that we already have, the things that are around us already. I'm grateful to be sitting here in front of a very nice camera in a very nice studio setup that I've had an opportunity to create through the work and the effort and the things that I've done, and being grateful for this, being grateful for what I have. And then once we start doing that, then we start attracting more things to us. Right. And that's how that process goes. And that's how, this is exactly it, Chuck. It will not just come to you. You have to take action and work for it. Exactly. So I just want to make sure nobody misses that, because again, not saying that Jack necessarily missed that, but that's not what he was talking about, was the take action part. He was talking about the mindset part. But I think what happens to most folks, they watch a movie like The Secret, they hear about things like abundance mentality and money magnet mindset, and they go, oh, okay, just got to think. Cool. Yes, I'm going to be a billionaire, whatever. And then they go, I've been thinking really hard for a year and I'm still not getting there. I've had an abundance mentality for years and I'm still not getting there. And it's about taking action. And let's see what Wendy has to share here. Always a great share from Wendy. This is where I get in my own way. I'm grateful for what I have. The abundance part I tend to feel is bragging. Yes, there you go, Wendy. This is a very good point. And this is, again, this kinds of behavior, this thought that if you have an abundance mentality, you're bragging, is something that was programmed into us. Not intentionally, like, bad people were out to get you. I mean, these were most likely your parents or teachers or other authoritative figures when you were growing up that were doing it to try to help you, protect you. They were doing it to try to protect you. But what happens though is in that state of trying to protect somebody, we're actually limiting them. We're actually holding them back, because we need to get out of our comfort zone. We need to feel a little bit scared and unprotected to take the actions that we need to grow. And yes, we're going to get hurt every once in a while. Yes, we're going to take bumps and bruises, and we're going to learn from those things. So being grateful for what you have is a perfect way to start this, but then also being able to open up and have that abundance mentality. Thinking about one of the things that he talked about was that money is the root of all evil. That's a common belief that a lot of people have, all the bad things people do for money. Well, but if you flip that around and realize that money is a tool that allows you to help and support your community, money is a tool or a resource that'll allow you to help somebody in need, that'll allow you to pick somebody up, to build, to have, all these great things. There's a story I won't go all the way into here. And if somebody really wants to hear it, I'll find it for you. It's something that I've heard from Jack along the way, but a gentleman that became a billionaire and bought all of this stuff, and then he still wasn't fulfilled. And so he just decided that the next step was to buy even bigger stuff. So he bought professional sports teams and things like that, but he still wasn't fulfilled. And on an off chance, he got to travel to a developing country where they were dealing with a lot of genocide and mines. And so there was a lot of amputations and things like that. And he used his own personal plane and flew wheelchairs over there and started giving away wheelchairs. And for the first time in his life, he was fulfilled. So all of that money that he had accumulated, it was now, instead of being the root of what people think is evil, it was now his avenue to be able to do something that was fulfilling to him, and he was providing for other people that were in need, right? So, it's changing our thinking around money. It is, and getting away from that feeling of bragging, and then being understanding what good will come out of it and affirming that good, and so kind of making that switch. But here's the trick: we have to find what those, it's one thing to say, okay, I tend to feel it's bragging, and I'm just going to use you, Wendy. I appreciate you sharing this. And so I'm not saying that this is Wendy. I'm just saying, if that was me saying what Wendy was saying, that I tend to feel it's bragging. Okay, that's perfect, because now you've pinpointed what maybe is holding you back. But the next step is, we have to go back and figure out at what point in time that was built into us, so that we can then address what was going on, the root cause, and start to recreate a different belief. All of these things that we're talking about here, both good and bad, are nothing more than beliefs that we have inside of us. And as business owners, we have a lot of beliefs about the way things should be, ought to be, inevitable, that type of thing, right? But again, all of those things are only beliefs. So what we have to do to be able to move forward is we have to change our beliefs. And so if it's, if my thought was, I tend to feel it's bragging, then I have to go back and pinpoint, where did I pick that up from? Where was that programmed into me? And a lot of times you've got to go, most of the time people go back to a time in their childhood, 8, 9, 10 years old. I mean, that's what makes me terrified about being a parent right now, is my son is 10. I know what we're quote unquote programming into him right now could have long-term effects. So, we want to really focus on what's important and what we can do to help him have that abundance mentality. Right. So, anyhow, I know I went on a long tangent there, but hopefully that kind of gives us something. Not to necessarily plug, but I'm going to plug anyways, if you don't mind. When I say we, my wife Kylene and I have created a workshop, and we're kind of renaming it. It used to be called Breaking Through Limiting Beliefs, but we had some people not quite understand what that meant, which made a lot of sense, and we appreciate all the feedback there. So we're in the process of renaming it to Unlock Your Potential, and it's a 60-minute immersive workshop that we get to do with people, where we go back, right? We go back and find where that limiting belief was created, that block, and then start to do some things to work our way out of that. And it comes with a little bit of a meditation that you can then go back and do anytime you want and find all sorts of things. It's been really powerful for me. And I know it's also been very powerful for Kylene. So we felt like this was something that we just had to do. So, again, we're making some changes to it right now, so things will be changing a little bit, but by next week, everything will be kind of up and going. But if you just want to go and check it out, we've got dates already set for the next 5 months. We're going to do it once a month, and pick different times and dates, so that way there's something for everyone. So we've already got dates set for the next 5 months. So if you'll go to oursuccessgroup.com/unlock, you can check that out. And like I said, things will be changing a little bit. So it still says releasing limiting beliefs, all the same thing. We're just putting some new paint on the walls, right? Just cleaning it up a little bit. So there's that. Jerry says, for me, I'm more and more grateful with age. Absolutely. And I think that what happens for us, Jerry, is that the older we get, right, the wiser we get. And the wiser we get, the more we understand what we have, right? When we're growing and building, and we're maybe in our 20s, maybe our early 30s, it's all about accumulating people, friends, money, jobs, and it's focused on what we don't have, trying to fill in what we don't have. But if we can change that early on, the earlier we can change that from focusing on what you do have, and then being grateful for that and building on top of that. So we might, hey, in our 20s, we might have a job that, doesn't feel like it's the career for us. Maybe we're, washing cars or waiting tables or whatever. And so we kind of look at that as like, I don't, this is below me, it's not where I want to be. It's not getting me to my goals. We can have that mentality, but what happens is then it takes us a long time because we have no foundation to stand on. If we can have that job, right? The bussing tables, the car washes, the things that are needed and necessary, but might not be our career choice, and go, hey, I am super grateful that I have an income right now, that I have things coming in, that I'm able to pay my rent. And I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful for all the learning opportunities that I'm getting out of that. Then once we can do that, then all of a sudden things start to move faster for us, right? Because we've got an actual foundation to stand on. And it definitely is something that, is important to me. And actually, one of the reasons why I'm so excited to get back into, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I'm back to coaching volleyball for the first time in many years. And I'm really excited about that because now with my new knowledge and wisdom of the success principles, I get to build some of that into these young men that I get to coach. And I'm really excited about that. So hopefully I can help them at an earlier age understand that all experiences come with the need to have gratitude for them, regardless of if they feel negative or positive at a time. They're an opportunity to learn and build. So I love that. Thanks for sharing, Jerry. Again, for me, I'm more and more grateful with age. So Wendy says, I often wish I had the confidence in my 20s. I tend now to always second guess myself. Absolutely. And as we've been talking about here, Wendy, and I take down that banner, sorry. As we've been talking about here, Wendy, these are just things that were, again, not negative, not somebody like trying to hold you down, the man trying to keep you down. It was just, they were doing their best with the knowledge and information that they had at the time, just like us. We do the very best with the knowledge and information that we have at the time. And so it takes, again, getting into some of these other things is like Jack talked about, surrounding yourself with abundant mindset people that have more, make more money and talk that, because you see it all the time. As humans, we have this ingrained need to commiserate, sit around, blame, complain. I mean, heck, go to the Facebook groups and inevitably someone somewhere will have the woe is me story. I hear it all the time. Oh my God, I can't find stuff. This is terrible. It's going to go on forever. The sky is falling, Chicken Little, right? And I get it, right? I'm not saying that this is not a challenge. I get that it's a challenge, and I believe it, and I see it, and I know it, and I'm not trying to say that it's not a challenge. What I'm saying is, okay, I get that it's a challenge, and yes, it's good to kind of get it off of our chest and get those feelings out there. All feelings are good feelings, whether or not they are, we categorize them as negative. But what we need to not do is dwell on the feelings of negativity and despair and woe is me. Yes, have the feeling, experience the feeling, and then try to understand what that feeling's telling you. And then let's look for a solution. Okay, well, what can we do instead? That's the way you're feeling right now. Totally understand. And with you on that. Yes, inventory and finding product is really tough right now, but what are we going to do about it? Right. And that's where we got to get to. And that's where, again, having that confidence, understanding that you will get to where you want to go as long as you keep taking actions. And I'm not saying every action is going to work. In fact, some actions might result in what could be categorized as difficult, terrible failures. But no one can ever take away the experience that you're gaining by the actions that you're taking. Nobody can ever take that away from you, no matter what. They can lock you up, put a gun to your head, all that stuff, but they could never take away that experience and that knowledge and that ability that you've gained by taking the action. So when we talk about second guessing ourselves, what's happening is we don't have that confidence because we haven't taken enough actions towards that thing that we're doing. So the best way to do it is to kind of, okay, if I'm second guessing myself, then maybe what I'm trying to take on, what I'm trying to accomplish is a little bit too big in my brain. Keep that goal, keep that big where I'm headed up here. But you're trying to take this big, huge step. You want to go from 0 to 100. But what we need to do is we actually need to then come back, break it down into the smallest bite-sized chunk of something that I can do right now. And we need to go from 0 to 0.5 or from 0 to 1. And when you're making that 0 to 0.5 or 0 to 1 step, then there's no need to second guess yourself, because you're like, it's just a little step. And then you do it. And guess what? After you take 100 actions, now you're at 100, right? Or if you're taking 0.5 actions, you take 200 actions, now you're at 100. But you go, okay, well, that's a lot. That's a lot to do. You take actions every day. It's just that we're not taking actions towards where we want to go all the time. So we need to prioritize. We need to be, and a lot of that comes with, okay, let's surround ourselves with people that are looking for solutions. Let's surround ourselves with people that have an abundance mentality. Let's surround ourselves with people that are okay. Yeah, you know what? This sucks. We've all agreed, right? I mean, that's what I'd love to see happen out there in the Facebook groups right now. Let's just, and maybe I'll post this and just go out there and say, okay, can we all just agree that inventory sucks right now? We're good on that. We don't need to whine and complain about it anymore. I know that it took, 14 different, I get it. And you get it, right? So now you've said, oh, I've wasted all this time, but now you've wasted more time complaining about it. So again, not trying to talk down anybody. I do this stuff all the time too. And we need to call each other out on it in a supportive way. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm saying, hey, let's all agree that these things are not good. And so what can we do to solve it? Do we all need to kind of get a letter together and reach out to the distributors and say, hey, start air freighting stuff? We'll agree to a 5% price increase or whatever the number is that you need to, you split half of the profits that you would normally make with us. We'll give you a little bit more money. All is good. I don't know if that's a solution, but we've got to start thinking about things like that and then taking action towards it. So I got way off on a tangent. I apologize. But I did want to talk about, again, this idea of let's make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with the people, the events, the acting as if, right? And you guys have probably heard me talk about that before, but if you haven't, the whole concept and it's one of the success principles is to act as if. So if your goal is to be a millionaire, what is it that a millionaire does that you're not currently doing, right? Do they dress a little bit differently? Do they hang out with different people? Do they go to different places? Do they, take more vacations? Whatever. Start acting as if. Yes, maybe you can't go on a month-long vacation to Europe right now, but you know what? You could go outside, pretend like you're in Europe and spend a half hour out there dreaming about it and start acting that way, right? We need to start acting as if. And a lot of that comes with who we're surrounding ourselves, how we're acting. If my goal is to be a successful speaker and trainer, then I need to show up and be a speaker, and I need to be a trainer. I might not be successful yet in whoever is deciding that's successful, myself, you guys, whatever. But if I keep showing up, it's just like my podcast, right? When we started the Two Regular Guys podcast, we didn't have any, for me, I think deep down, it was because I wanted to, at that time, I was kind of transitioning. I had started in this industry working for a company called US Screen. I worked for a gentleman named Scott Fresner. I'm so blessed to have had him in my life, and I learned so much from him. But I was always kind of his right-hand man. People kind of knew who I was, but I was just that guy that worked for Scott. And so after that, his business went out of business, I was looking for who I was, what I was going to be. I was looking for people to notice that, I had some abilities and that I could do something. And so the podcast kind of started out of that idea. It kind of was also because I wanted to make sure that I kept up with Terry, because he was my best friend and I was moving away to St. Louis. But who knew that Two Regular Guys would go for 9 years and be as successful as it's been? I'm not saying it's a runaway. Joe Rogan's not reaching out to me to come join him over at wherever he's doing his podcast at. Nobody's sending me $1 million to do my podcast, but I can be very grateful for everything that it's done for me. It's gotten me to this point where I get an opportunity to be a part of our success group with all of you, to been able to work with Todd, and all of these things I've built on that. So that's what I'm saying for you guys. Again, going back to what Wendy said is about feeling like it's bragging. I don't know. Did that just sound like I was bragging? If it did, it didn't feel that way to me. I felt like I was sharing and being proud of what I've been able to do. And being proud is not bragging, in my opinion. So hopefully that helps. All right. So that's mainly what I had. That's mainly what I wanted to break down. Again, trying to keep it to 30, but I knew this would be a little bit longer because I knew I had 30 minutes of information that I wanted to share on top of the 10, 15 minutes of Jack. So if there's not anything else that you guys have, hopefully that gives you what you need. His homework assignments for you guys was to go get a $100 bill and stash it in your wallet or your purse or wherever, and just keep it there, knowing that it's there. Don't spend it unless it's a total emergency. Also, write yourself a check for the amount that you want to make and post that on your wall. Or I actually have a sales order form that we used at some of the trade shows. And I took that form and I wrote out a sales order for the number of 5 keys that my goal is to sell. And I've put that on the wall above my desk. This is in my studio, so it's not right here, but above my desk upstairs. And I've got it there and I look at it every day. I mean, it's sitting right there. So, doing that kind of thing. And then finally, what are you going to do to upgrade your life? That act as if, that spending time with people, surrounding yourself with people that have an abundance mentality, and consciously moving away. I'm not saying you got to, everybody that's a bit of a, woe is me, sky is falling type person that just wants to find the problems, that you got to just cut them out of your life completely. What I'm saying is you have to consciously either A, say something to them, or B, consciously spend less time with them and focus on spending time with the people that are going to have that abundance mentality. So there's the 3 homework assignments from Jack. And I'd love to hear from you guys how you're implementing that along the way. And that's all I've got for you. So next week, I've got Eric Campbell joining me, and we're going to have a discussion of the formula E plus R equals O, which is event plus your response equals your outcome. The base principle, taking 100% responsibility for our lives and business. And so I'm excited to have Eric join me and see if we get an outside perspective. Eric is not a success principles trainer. Eric and I have had lots of conversations about it. And over time, we just thought, you know what? Let's have this conversation openly with other people around so we can get their input and also, be able to share some of our thoughts and how we've dug into it. So I'm really excited about having Eric join me next week. So tune in for that same time, 9 a.m. Central Time, Saturday morning. And that's all I've got for you guys. So have a great rest of your Saturday. Have that money mindset, have that abundance, be grateful, and get out there and just have an amazing weekend. All right. Have a great day, everybody.